Now, why CPS didn't save these kids? Let's talk about it.
That ain't my girl, that's my nigga. Catch me out on Ocean Drive with her. Catch me in the whip, ride with her. Sipping something, bumping big, hypnotized with her. Pray you get that job in Tampa.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Brittany, and this is Let's Talk About It, Brit. I am going to talk about an episode that I've seen on the show Evil Lives Here on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's still running on TV, but I saw the episode on YouTube. I'm gonna leave the link in the bio. A little bit about me. I have a criminal justice background. I'm into crime. I'm looking towards going into forensics once I graduate. So I always watch crime TV and I dissect it and I do all that crazy stuff that people do who are into crime TV. With that being said, I came across this case where CPS was involved, and I felt like this was something that I often see when I watch these crime cases, and I just wanted to put my opinion on what I think should have happened, and also kind of put what I would do as a social worker after the fact. So this is pretty much what this video is going to be about. So before I get into the video, I do want to say I've watched it a few weeks back and I had to do a lot of Googling to find the video. So I am not going to rewatch this episode to give you the details over because I kind of don't like rewatching stuff like this. Obviously because of my background, and it's just a really touchy topic and I really don't like to rewatch the same type of trauma. So I am going to go based off the information that I remember. Future videos, yes, I will have the names, date, addresses, everything you want to know, but for this particular video, I am just going off what I remember. So don't eat me up in the comments talking about, girl, what's his name? I don't know. Okay, so in this episode, this mother had children. I think it was maybe like 5-6 children with a man, and then she also adopted, and they separated, and she started dating this woman. So when they started dating, you know, everything was fine in the beginning. Some of her children were placed with the father or doing visits with the father, so they weren't in the home. But there was 2 boys that was the main characters in this episode. So the survivor of this abuse was explaining that when his mother went to work, his stepmother would take him and his brother into a room and tie them on a bed. So in the show, you can see that the kids are laying down and they each have ties on their wrists and their ankle. So she would leave them for hours. After a little while of doing that, she would feed them sporadically, like not even a full meal, like half a peanut butter sandwich, and they have to share it. They were not getting food, they were not getting water on a consistent basis. They were just locked in that room. So as time went by, she started locking them in the closet. They weren't going to school. Keep in mind, they were not going to school. She was locking them in the closet for hours, days. And she would come and bring them like random food that was not filling. And they would have to use the bathroom on themselves. Everything in that tiny little closet. The survivor had said at one point they were going to school, but I think they only went for one day and then all of a sudden it stopped. He didn't really go into detail as to why, and the impression that I got is that he didn't know why. So yeah. So it was just him and his brother that was getting this treatment, and sometimes his siblings would come over and, you know, they would like give him food, play with them. They knew what was going on was wrong. And some of those siblings that went to their father's house had told their father like, hey, this is what's going on, numerous times. So I'm assuming the father made a report because CPS showed up to the house. Now, here's the thing that I have to get into. The boy, the survivor, I'm sorry, I'm saying boy. In the video, he was a boy, but now an adult. The survivor was explaining that one day the stepmother randomly took him and his brother out of the room and brought them downstairs and emptied out a bag full of toys. Now, they've been locked up in this closet for months at a time, never had any toys, basically didn't have a childhood. And when she gave them the toys, they didn't know how to play. They were just like, what is this? Like, they didn't know how to interact with it. What is this? So in the show, you can see CPS coming to the door and just talking to the parents, the mom and the stepmom. And the boy said at the time, the survivor at the time said that he wasn't sure who they were and what they were doing, but now looking back, he realized it was CPS. And he said that CPS never interviewed him and never checked the house. These are two red flags that made me roll my eyes, and I was just like what is the problem here? But anyway, after CPS left, they were locked back in the closet. Now you're wondering what happened to the birth mother. What did she think about this? She didn't care. She did not care. She didn't say anything. This was just stepmom handling things. She didn't care. Now, one day, the kids that came from their dad's house came over, and they had a sister. I'm assuming she was the oldest. She ended up unlocking. Keep in mind, I didn't add this. They were locked in the closet. So she unlocked the door while the stepmom and mom were sleeping, and it was nighttime, and she told the kids, run, run, run. They jumped out the window. I think it's like a two-story home. They jumped out the window and they just ran. While they were running, they stopped, and I think there was a water hose where they drank water, and basically they got picked up by cops. So they get in the cop car, and the cops, they see they're disheveled, a little malnourished, and basically asking these kids, like, what's going on? The cops ended up getting them food, and the way they were eating it, he said that they were just like, the cops knew that they haven't eaten a big meal in a really long time. So the cop was just asking questions about, like, where you live, where's your family, we're gonna bring you back home. And the survivor explained that he and his brother was just like, no, we can't go back, and explained what was going on in the home. So the cops ended up driving to the home and keeping the kids in the car, and the survivor said multiple cops came to the home, and that's when they arrested the mother and the stepmother. And that's pretty much it. Watching the episode, I can definitely see he was affected mentally, emotionally till this day. I forgot off the top of my head how much time she served, but the survivor did say that he reached out, or they reached out to him while in jail, and his bio mother had sent him letters basically apologizing, saying, this is not what I expected it to be, or whatever the case is. And he said, this is not genuine. I know you didn't mean it. And then as far as the stepmother, I think he asked her, like, why, but basically the stepmother was standing on business. She wouldn't change a thing. I forgot how much time they got. I think it's 25. I could be wrong. When you watch it, you can look it up. Again, I am just going off what I remember from weeks ago. I saw this a long time and it really bothered me. So yeah, I don't really have the exact details, and I was not rewatching this case. I'm sorry. Okay, so what do I think as a CPS worker? Oh my goodness. So my first question was, why wasn't the schools reaching out? They weren't going to school. I know he mentioned that they were going to school for like a day, but I'm wondering, did the schools call CPS to say, hey, this kid was here and now they're MIA. I've called the parent and I'm just getting the runaround. So I really would like to know what goes on, because as a school standpoint, if you see a child that is enrolled and then all of a sudden they're not coming, you have to constantly call, you have to send letters, and most of all, you have to do wellness checks and call CPS. Again, I forgot what state this was in, and I know CPS is different from like across the country, but I'm sure that that's pretty standard. I'm not 100% sure, but basically that's kind of like bare minimum. The second thing that irked me was when he told me, oh my God, when he said that CPS came to the home and did not do an interview and did not check the home. This is a red flag. It is a red flag. But again, I'm not sure how CPS runs in the state that he lives in, but this is a red flag, and let me explain. When you receive a report of a child, you have to interview the child by themselves. If you have a case like this where the parent will not allow you to, in this case, they didn't try, but let's just say both moms said, no, you can't do it, then you would have to find a way to get that child alone, whether that's popping up at their school. In this case, he wasn't in school, so this is more of a, you have to bring the child to the office. Once that child is in the office, you have the right to interview this child by themselves. So not speaking with the child individually without the parent was a red flag for me, especially in this case. But then at the same time, when you're dealing with abuse, you can't really interview the kid because the kid is not going to say what's going on, especially with the parent in the home. But I think the CPS worker should have at least tried to interview the child alone at his office. Again, I don't know what state this is or what the protocol is, but ideally this is how it's supposed to be. Another red flag. This should have never happened. You did not look around the home. Had you looked around the home, you would have seen the conditions of the bedroom. You would have seen that the closet was locked. You would have looked at the children and said, hey, they look a little malnourished. And you would have put two together. And not only that, you would pry more. A real CPS worker is going to ask a million questions. Not only that, interviewing the children. Even if the children were not going to say what's really going on, you still have to talk to them. You still have to check for marks and bruises. And not only that, they have siblings who are living with their father. So you could have easily reached out to them and went to that child's home and said, hey, do you know anything that's going on with your siblings and your mom, etc. Again, based on just this episode and the information that he provided, there was so much things that just weren't done that could have prevented so much. I feel like in a lot of these cases, CPS workers don't do their due diligence and they just run with what the parent is saying. And sometimes the parent is the problem. And I think sometimes CPS workers can forget that you are representing the child. You are not there to represent the parent. Your best interest should always be the child. And if you are working in the CPS field, you will know when kids are lying. You will know when they're hiding information. And most of all, you will know when they are trained. I had a case where they were pretty much robots, and I was like, red flag. And guess what? I pried and drama. So I really think this is just something that I always see in crime shows where the CPS worker would come and then don't talk to the kids. Like, hello, you are there to represent the kids and make sure the kids are doing well. Why are you not talking to your client? The parent is not your client. The child is your client. So that really irked me about CPS. But again, this is a short episode. I really wish that there was more details. I could probably look it up online, but I'm not going to do that. But I would really like to know, like, what happened with the school? Who made the call? How often was CPS called? Or was it this one time? So this episode definitely left a lot of questions. But I also felt like these kids could have been out of this situation way sooner. As a future social worker, here's the things that I hope a social worker would be doing. Assessing the basic needs, making sure the children have food, shelter, water, basic needs. I would do crisis counseling, psychological evaluations, trauma-focused therapy, training for the family or the foster family. The survivor didn't say if he went into foster care after this or if he was placed with other family members. That's another thing. He didn't mention anything about other family members. I would do family therapy with him and his siblings. Also school coordination, making sure that he is educationally up to par, especially because he's missed so much school. And monitoring and adjustment, making sure that all the plans that we created and put in place are working, and if anything needs to be adjusted, and just making sure that he is getting everything he needs on a mental, physical, social, psychological basis. So that is pretty much my take on this case. I'm definitely going to do more videos like this, and this time, of course, I will be more detailed. I highly doubt I will do big profile cases, only because it's a really, really touchy topic for me, especially when you work in the field, because I see things that really should have taken place, and it makes me uncomfortable to watch. So I don't think I will be reviewing big time cases as of right now. I'll probably just keep it with the small cases like this, because I genuinely don't have the heart or mindset to like actually watch a big documentary, especially the documentaries that are on on Netflix. I just can't do it. I usually don't watch anything CPS or child related trauma, because I feel like when you work with kids, you just don't want to watch it. And it's crazy because when I was younger, we were watching, I think I was watching Grey's Anatomy, and my mom is a nurse, and I was asking her like, oh, do you watch this show? And she was like, I don't watch anything medically related to my field because it's false. Like, it'll piss me off on the things that they do in the show. And now that I'm an adult, I pretty much agree with her. Like, if I watch cases with abuse and neglect, it'll piss me off like any other person that would watch it. And also, as a CPS worker, when I see things, when mandated reporters, because it's not just CPS, when mandated reporters don't do what they're supposed to do, or CPS doesn't do their best, like in this case, it really tugs at my heart way too much, and I'm just not ready for it. So I will do the small cases, and then I will slowly get to the big cases. But as of right now, if I come across a crime show with CPS involved, I'll do it. But if it's a full-blown documentary, I ain't doing it, y'all. But anyway, thank you for coming to Let's Talk About It, Brit. If you like this video or you want more, please like and subscribe, leave a comment, share. Definitely thank you for your support. And oh, shout out to 50 subscribers. Oh my God, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for keeping up with me. And an update, I had surgery. I had to remove a tumor. So for my crocheters, I'm down bad. I can't even finish my little blanket, but I am getting it together, and that's it. Never knew, no, I never knew that you be a freak and a friend too. Yeah, you into everything I'm into.